Hello, good evening and welcome to the United Stand. Hope you're all doing well. What a day in the World Cup, but let's talk Manchester United because the World Cup's drawing to a close, isn't it? Very exciting close. Come on, England. But the World Cup is drawing to a close and the football, obviously, is what we're all here for in relation to Manchester United. So let's start off. Lots to discuss about Lozano, Bale, Lingard, Fred. But let's start off with Cristiano Ronaldo. So, Ronaldo, Manchester United, Independent and The Sun reporting that Manchester United have inquired about Ronaldo late on in this deal that is apparently going to happen with Juventus. However, they've been met with potential issues that the Juventus deal is looking very advanced and that's preferably where Ronaldo would want to go. I don't necessarily, Alatunde says he's going to Juventus, let's just move on. I don't necessarily agree with that, to be honest with you. I still think that he could end up staying at Real Madrid. And it doesn't surprise me that Manchester United are now being mentioned as late talks because we probably haven't even put any offer in at all, but it makes sense to throw Manchester United's hat into the ring. But there was a tweet on the United Stand account this morning which makes a lot of sense, actually. Taking away the emotion of trying to bring Ronaldo back to Manchester United, taking away the fact that maybe he doesn't get on with Mourinho, taking away the fact that George Mendes is Mourinho's agent and has done no business with us in 2 years, and a lot of people think that's because of the De Gea collapse deal a couple of years ago, and taking away the fact that Madrid never really want to deal with us. Let's take away all of that, and it's like quite a lot to take away, but look at Ronaldo's situation. He's got more chance of winning a league title at Juventus, he's got more chance of scoring more goals at Juventus, and he's got more chance of winning a Champions League at Juventus. All those three things he's got more chance of doing than coming to United. We're probably not going to win the league next year. We don't create many chances, so he's not going to score loads of goals, and we've probably got no chance of winning the Champions League. And Juventus can give him all those three things. So it might just be as simple as that. Even if United were in for him, it might be as simple as that. And I actually don't believe that Manchester United have put any offer in at all. I really don't. So I think, yeah, maybe we have, but I don't think we can do a deal in relation to that. And I don't propose to spend any more time talking about it unless people want me to, because it's there to be discussed. It's a topic that's been out there today, which would be remiss of us not to discuss it, because that's what we are, a fan community. But, Bichel says, I don't think we need him. We've been linked with 55 players, says the Sniping Wabbit. I think that's quite low. I think we've probably been linked with more than that. And Tyrone Williams says, Ronaldo would be taking a huge risk coming back to the Premier League. He's clearly slowed down and a move to Italy suits him. Anyway, let's see what happens with it. If something develops, it does, but I personally don't think it will. Just want to add something that we mentioned last night about the number 7 shirt potentially being available. I read something today about Gareth Bale and United. As much as they would like to bring Bale to United, they've sort of put the white flag up and surrendered the fact that they won't be able to do that, because Ronaldo leaving Real Madrid means that Real Madrid won't want to lose Bale as well. So it's well known, look, whether you want Bale at United or not, it's well known that Bale actually wants to stay at Real Madrid. He's just not been getting the game time, so probably looking elsewhere, but he wants to stay in Madrid. And I think that's what's going to probably happen. So Ronaldo to Juventus, Bale stays at Real Madrid, Griezmann staying at Atletico Madrid. We talked about a marquee signing at Manchester United, but who's that marquee signing going to be now? Dybala is not going to bloody Liverpool, and he's not going to come to Manchester United, so that's not going to happen. So I don't think Manchester United are going to do a marquee signing. As I said last night, I've got a horrible feeling that Ronaldo goes to Juventus, Neymar or Mbappe goes to Real Madrid, Martial goes to PSG, and we get Willian. I think that might happen, and I don't think that's a good deal for United, but I think that might happen, because if PSG lose Mbappe or Neymar, they'll be looking for somebody, and I think Martial ticks a lot of the boxes that they would be looking for. But hopefully that won't happen. I want to come back onto that in a minute, but there's a couple of stories I need to get into this quite soon. What's happening with Alexandro, says Milan. Very, very simply, the situation with Alexandro is this. Whether we're going to sign him or not, I can't tell you that. All I can tell you is what was said last week, is that there's a deal in place. Personal terms have been agreed with Alexandro. But it's all hands on deck with Juventus and Ronaldo. That deal is huge for them. So many layers to it, and all their hands will be on that deck. There is no way we're going to be doing a deal for Sandro while they're dealing with Juventus. Juventus are dealing with Real Madrid. So we're going to have to wait. If Sandro's going to happen, we're going to have to wait. Emmanuel says he's so surprised we haven't sold anyone yet. Daily Blind, Bishal, I've just answered about Sandro. Daily Blind is looking like going to Ajax. Don't know how they can afford that, so I don't know whether we're going to get short-changed. And Darmian will go to Italy. So those two players were the two players with Fellaini that I felt we had to get rid of this summer. Obviously, we're not getting rid of Fellaini now, so we can park that. But Darmian and Blind do need to go, and I'm pretty sure they will go. So I'm not too concerned about people going out the door. That will happen. There's a story, before I talk about Fred, there's a story from Mercato Web, Tutto Mercato Web, which, I mean, they're not reliable anyway, let's just say that United have gone in for Lozano. Now, this is spreading around social media, and I've had a few people that I get on with, some of which are mods, and the mods will know who, telling me that we've had a bid for Lozano. The reliability of the source is not even worth acknowledging. Lozano, £35 million bid apparently, but it's not anywhere credible. I don't believe it. I'd like Lozano at Manchester United. I wanted him 2 years ago, before anyone really knew about him, when he was playing in Mexico. I'd like him to come to United, but as a fan community, I'd just like to say, if you are reading things about Lozano, take it from me that at this moment in time, it's absolute nonsense, and I wouldn't even get excited about it. His agent is Mino Raiola, so that is always a positive around Manchester United, if you can take that as a positive. But there's nothing in that. Lozano at Manchester United, he probably plays off the left more than he plays off the right, but he can play off the right. I'd love him at Manchester United. I think he'd be a great player for the Premier League. I think he'd suit the Premier League really well. He's got a lot of tricks, a lot of skills. He's still got a lot of development, which again would be a big red flag for Mourinho. So this deal is not going to happen as far as I'm concerned, and I just want to let you know that. Osai's watching from Portugal. Matthew says, sit down, Jared. I wasn't going to name him. He's probably not on. And PSV will demand at least 55 million. Says Curtis 15. Well, he's only been there a year, so you're probably right in relation to that. Jose won't sign Lozano. I agree with you there, Cole Thompson. What about Pogba to Barcelona, says Jack Blackwell? I don't see it happening. Sydney B says, you said Sandro terms are agreed, now you say you have no idea. You are a joke, mate. Is it just Sydney who just doesn't listen, or did somebody not actually understand what I said? Did a video on Alexandre last week because Duncan Castle said that their personal terms had been agreed with Sandro. There's a big word in there, personal terms. There was never any mention of a deal with Juventus. In fact, it was all about the fee that was going to be done. So what I said a few minutes ago is I've got no idea whether Sandro is going to sign for Manchester United or when it's going to happen, but it's not going to happen at the moment while Juventus are totally focused on Ronaldo. So you're not listening, Sydney. You need to, it's been a long day, but you're not listening what I said. The rumour is, and I believe that rumour, that United have got a personal term deal done with Sandro. I wish it was Ronaldo, but it's always been the case that there's not a deal in place with Juventus, and if there was, he'd be a United player. I expect it to happen in the future. Let me just talk about Fred for a moment. Fred is, I always get a bit of stick on the United stand for how I pronounce people's names, so I'm going to pronounce the Brazil manager's name with a little bit of resentment and anger. So I'm going to call him Tit E. It may well be Tight, it may well be Titi, I don't know, but I'm going to call him Tit E because I think he's a bit of a Tit E, because what he's come out and said is that the reason that Fred didn't play in the World Cup is because he had a problem and failed to make a full recovery. Why the hell's he been sat with you for 6 weeks when he could have been on holiday? This really does annoy me about this, and I don't know whether anybody else has had these thoughts about Fred, but the manager's come out and said that he was never really ready. He never really got over the injury that he had. So he's had 6 weeks in Russia for bloody... How does that help us? He's either there to play games, or if he can't play games, send him on holiday. He has his recuperation. He'd be back tomorrow on Monday morning as part of the United team for pre-season. But now he's going to go on holiday for another 3 weeks. And what a waste of time that is, Mr. Tit E. It just really frustrates me that he's not had any game time at all because he's not ready, but you've retained him as part of your World Cup squad, and then we lose out Manchester United because he was never going to play for Brazil because he wasn't ready, but he could have just been having a holiday and coming back to United. We could have had him ready for the start of the season. Really, really frustrated me, that did. And he is a Tit E as far as I'm concerned. Pogba isn't proving his worth even now, says Google. Talk to me, says Amrit. How come the live comments are not shown on the screen anymore, says Lewis. It's just a summer thing with transfer windows and the things that we're doing. As soon as the watch-alongs start again, you'll be back. Great opportunity to play Chong and Gomez at the US Tour, says Declan McGrath. There's going to be a lot of United players not on that tour. A lot. We've got, was there 8 United players before Sweden were knocked out today that were still part of it? Fred was only knocked out yesterday as well. So there's quite a few United players who won't be going on that US tour. So there are opportunities there for people like, I think Andreas Pereira is the one that really excites me the most, if we're totally honest. Ant Walton says, if we're in for a centre-back, what are your thoughts on Magic Maguire? Yeah, look, have we not learned from buying players from good World Cups like Cleverson and Jemba Jemba? Maguire is having a good World Cup and suddenly we should spend £60 million on him. Not for me. But there is a retainer to that point. And the point is, if you want me to sign Maguire because of what he's done in the Premier League, because that's where it matters, he pretty much has been doing what he's been doing in the Premier League and that he's doing in the World Cup. So I don't want to judge people on World Cups, because a couple of weeks ago, people were saying Rebic is great, and he's been poor for 2 games for Croatia. So very dangerous to judge people on the World Cup. I'll judge Maguire on the Premier League. And if you remember that game, the 23rd of December, I think it was a Saturday night game back in December. United had the game almost won. Leicester put a ball in, and I'm pretty sure it was Harry Maguire who got on the back post for it. He's had a good season for Leicester, and based on his Leicester's form, I'd consider him for Manchester United. But I'm not going to say, just because he's doing well in the World Cup, because I don't think that's the right way to go about it. And as Willis said, he's had a good season for Leicester. That's where I'd be looking at him. Gabriel says, I don't like Maguire, we can get better. He's better than Smalling and Jones, says the sniping Wabbit. And can we still hijack that Ronaldo deal, says Pankaj. Anything is possible. We did it with Alexis Sanchez, but I just get the feeling that Simon Beach says Mendes is in Italy, according to Italian media. It looks nailed on that Ronaldo is going to go to Juventus, and I think our name is just being thrown in at the end for just to give the story a bit of gravity, I suppose. But it doesn't. He's going to go to Juventus, isn't he? Just very quickly on the World Cup, actually, I just wanted to say that I thought Jesse Lingard was really quiet in the first half against Sweden, really quiet, and Dele Alli, and then they won the game. But what I liked about Jesse Lingard is that the ball he put in for Ali was superb. And I thought we keep talking about crosses into the box and that natural cross that we don't ever really do. And I think a lot of people think Lingard's a midfielder or a number 10, but I still think Jesse Lingard for United would be really good on the right midfield, because today and I know, again, World Cup, I know, but also I've seen him do this for United. So today's an example of what Lingard does for United, where he's like a Duracell. He never stops running. He's like a Duracell battery. He never stops running. He just keeps going and going and going. But he doesn't get many touches on the ball, and he's not really a great tackler. I don't think he suits the midfield at all, or the number 10 position. I don't think it suits him. I think I always saw him as a right midfielder, and I think Lingard as our right midfielder is not a bad idea. I quite like that idea of Lingard out there, because he is explosive. He does make good runs. He can hug the touchline, and as he showed today with that cross, he's intelligent with his crosses. Like Trippier, he wants to get the cross in quick, and like Lingard today, he gets that cross in quick. He doesn't take a touch. We saw Kyle Walker a couple of times taking a touch to put it cross in, and it allows the centre-backs to set themselves, but Lingard whips it in quickly. I'd quite like to see Lingard on that right midfield, and maybe I'm not convinced that, as I said there, what do you think about Malcolm from Bordeaux FC, Mark, says Andrew Williams. I think he's going to go to Inter, mate. I don't think there's anything about that. I have mentioned Lozano, Macaulay. I'll cover it in a moment again, but we're not going to get Ronaldo. I don't think we're going to get Bale. We're clearly not going to get Griezmann. We're not going to get Dybala. So this marquee signing that we're talking about isn't going to happen, is it, as an attacker? I think the only attacker that we're really going to be looking at is Willian. And I'd rather save the 40 million and use Jesse Lingard out in the right midfield. There is no reason to just go and throw money after players when we've got competent players in the squad already. And I don't know what people think. I'd like to see... Well, as Eric Ross says, it's his natural position anyway. Chris Andrews says he's not a winger, but I don't think he's a number 10. I don't think he's a number 10, and I certainly don't think he's a midfielder, because he doesn't get on the ball enough. So I'd like to see him on the right midfield, because it suits Lingard's game there. He's an impact player, He doesn't get on the ball a lot, so being a right midfielder probably suits him a lot because you're not involved in the game loads, but when you do get the ball, you can be impactful. So I'd like to see him there. I don't think Willian is the help. I mean, Savic did drop into my head there, Joshy boy. Milinkovic-Savic did drop into my head a little bit there because Juventus are not going to sign Milinkovic-Savic now. They can't afford it. If they get Ronaldo, they're not signing Milinkovic-Savic. So is Milinkovic-Savic going to stay at Lazio, or do United become the front runners and that becomes our big signing? Because I know he didn't have a great World Cup, but I don't really care. I still think Milinkovic-Savic, for me, I said this back in May, 3 signings United need to make. Sandro, Fred, Milinkovic-Savic. If we came out of this summer with those, and I said it in May, I'd be absolutely ecstatic. I can't move away from that, and it's still a possibility. And as Struan and Simpson says, Pereira has all the makings of a really good player. He looks quick, and he looks like he's got that Brazilian flair. Again, it might be... Unless we're going to go and get that creme de la creme player, the Bale or the Ronaldo, then don't get the Willian. Don't bother with it, because we have got players within the squad that I think, Willian's going to give us 1 or 2 years. You've got Pereira, you've got Lingard, you've got Gomez, you've got Chong. I'd rather just not spend that money, especially when there's a risk that you could spend that money on Willian and Mourinho's gone in a year. I'd rather not do it and you spend it elsewhere. Savic and Matic means love, says Marko Milicevic. And update or thoughts on Lukaku to Real in a swap deal, says Leon Bailey. I'm not aware of a swap deal involving Lukaku. And I certainly think that Mourinho would rather quit Manchester United as manager than give up on Lukaku. So, I don't think Lukaku's going anywhere at all. No chance, as far as I'm concerned. It won't happen. For those who've joined a little bit late, you might be getting a little bit excited on social media about Lozano. It's not happening. It's not based on what the story is. It's come from a quite unreliable source in the name of Toto Mercato Web, which I did a little bit of research on. In fact, I saw an article in 2013 saying that they do make a lot of things up. I've certainly never noticed them as being reliable. And the person who wrote it, they are on Twitter, but I think they've got 1,500 followers and they follow 1,500 people. So that to me is a bit of a red flag that they're not the most reliable source. Maybe there's something in it, but I really don't think that there is. I don't see Lozano at United. He's a development player. He's still on an upward curve. He's the sort of player that Pep would sign. He's the sort of player that Pochettino would sign. Maybe even Klopp would sign. He's not what Jose wants, and he's probably not what United need at the moment. We need somebody to come in and hit the ground running. And I love Lozano. I'd love him at United, but actually, does he suit what we need at the moment? A player who's going to need time to adapt, who's going to need development, who's a bit young. He's probably not what we need anyway. Imrano TV says Lingard is a bit like Thomas Muller, intelligent with finding space and can play off the right while scoring goals. Good point. Thanks for the contribution. We need to win the league next season, says Milan. Lingard is a centre-attacking midfielder, says Ryan C. I really don't think he is. Would be very happy with Savic and Sandro plus Lozano, and closing our transfer window would be great, says Louise. Martial on the left, Sanchez on the right, says Josh Iki. Well, we've been on about that since January. I don't think we're going to see it happening, unfortunately. Any news about Shaqiri, says Ishmael. No news is good news in relation to Shaqiri. If we sign him, I give up. He's not what we need at Manchester United, in my opinion. Smalling to Fulham, says Mervyn. Well, we got him from Fulham, didn't we? And have you heard that Pogba is linked to Barcelona, but I don't believe it, says Zakia. I've tentatively heard it, but I tell you what, why would United be selling Pogba to Barcelona? Do we want to just sack Mourinho now? We're not winning the league next season. And, well, anything can happen, as we're seeing with this World Cup. But the chances of us winning the league are quite low at the moment. Selling Pogba just gives up on that. So we're not selling Pogba. I believe that Pogba's been a bit unhappy at United, and I believe that he's been offered out. But unless someone's going to pay 200 million, and why would anyone pay for 200 million for Pogba at the moment? He's not even consistent. So I think it's just the World Cup. He's in the World Cup, isn't he? Somebody always wants to make a statement signing from the World Cup. And actually, when you look at the statement signings in this World Cup, if you think about James Rodriguez from the World Cup in 2014, there's always somebody from a World Cup that's like, oh yeah, everybody wants them. Look at this World Cup. Who's the player from this World Cup that everyone's going to go, wow, they're it? Mbappe comes to mind. Pogba comes to mind. Lukaku comes to mind. Kane comes to mind. Neymar's gone. Didn't do great. Messi's gone, Ronaldo's gone, but he's going to Juventus. So 2 of those players are United players, Lukaku and Pogba. Kane's not leaving Spurs. Lukaku's not leaving United. So that leaves Mbappe and Pogba. Pogba's not leaving. So if people want to make a statement signing from this World Cup, it's probably going to be Mbappe. I don't see Pogba going. Jesse Lingard is the next number 7, I've heard there. Well, he's England's number 7. I can see it. I can see it happening if Sanchez takes the number 10 shirt, which is something we were told about a couple of weeks ago. But as I said last night, I don't see it happening. But if he does go, I don't think we'll necessarily sign a number 7. I think we've tried that too often. SP says there's reports that Milinkovic-Savic could be going to Real Madrid for 135 million. He could. Kovacic is a good player, Alfonzino. I do like him. Madrid would make it very hard for Ronaldo to come back to United, says Damien Hosty. Yeah, I don't think we'll ever know the truth, will we? Costa might be available after Ronaldo to Juventus, says Abanaf Shori. I think they would retain both, to be honest. I mean, how Juventus are doing this, I think they need massive applause, really. How they're doing it, I do not know. Would you take Perisic, even at his current age, says Matthew Smith? Well, he's not been very good in the World Cup, has he? No. Of course I would. I like Perisic. I think he would have been a good signing for United. Would I take him now, a year on? I mean, it's knocking on the door of being a bad deal because we've lost a year with him. But I still think Perisic would have been a good player for United. And I do judge Perisic on what he does for Inter Milan, not what he's doing in the World Cup. And I think a bit like Milinkovic-Savic, Perisic hasn't had a great World Cup, has he really? I mean, he was subbed after 63 minutes today. He wasn't good against Denmark either. But I would take Perisic. I do like him. Will Mbappe be available if PSG don't meet FFP, says Ant Walton. I think there's going to be some deals with PSG anyway. I think Real Madrid are definitely going to go for Neymar or Mbappe. One of those will be at Real Madrid this summer. And that will solve their financial fair play, won't it? Please do drop a like on the video, everybody. Let's see if we can get to 500 likes while we're live. Smash that like button. And Salim says, if Juventus get Ronaldo, they have to give Alexandro to us to get the wages money. Yeah, I think that's what will happen in relation to Alexandro. I'm sure that we're going to do a deal with him, and they're going to have to do deals. They're going to have to. Pjanic might go to Barcelona as well. They might have to get rid of a couple of players to accommodate to Ronaldo. But they got Emre Can free from Liverpool, so that's a good signing for them. But yeah, Luke Shaw, I was thinking about this last night because I was thinking, well, if we're signing Sandro, what's going to happen there? My theory on Luke Shaw is that actually he's probably getting himself fit to put himself in the shop window in the US tour. That's probably what's happening with Luke Shaw. I still think that Luke Shaw will probably leave Manchester United, especially if we get Sandro. It'd be stupid of him not to because Ashley Young's obviously going to be the deputy. Or he'd probably start the season, no. Mourinho, I'm still very fearful that Martial's going to go. I don't know why people are getting really optimistic that Martial's going to stay. It was quite damning what his agent said. And I don't see how Mourinho gives Martial the reassurances he needs when we all know that he's still going to pick Sanchez. So I still think that Martial could go. I can see Martial going to PSG. I can. And I don't want it to happen, but I can. And this transfer window for Manchester United is still massively up in the air. There's a lot of things that there's things that some people are going to take not positive, like Fred and Sandro if it happens, and maybe Milinkovic-Savic, who knows. But there's going to be things that people take negative, like Fellaini, like not getting Ronaldo when he leaves Real Madrid. So the next few weeks are massively interesting, and I've really enjoyed the World Cup, but I'm glad it's winding down now because I want to get on with the World Cup. I want to get on with the Premier League. I want to get back on with Manchester United. So thanks everyone who started tuning in again. We are going to be back at 8 o'clock tomorrow. I think I've got Flex and Sophie on tomorrow because we're back at 8 o'clock for the next few nights. In fact, we'll pretty much be 8 o'clock every night again now because the World Cup's nearly done, isn't it? There's only 2 more 7 o'clock kickoffs, which are Tuesday and Wednesday. So I'm looking forward to it. I think the next few weeks are going to go off like a bottle of pop. Not just around United, around loads of clubs. Chelsea, not done any business yet. Man City need to get theirs done. And I think we're going to start to see the wheels really rocket. And they're going to have to rocket for the Premier League because they've only got a very, very short period of time, August the 11th. So it's literally 4 weeks left of this transfer window and there's still loads and loads and loads to do. What if we sign Sandro to be Young's understudy? Jose benched Lindelof last season for Jones or Smalling. And never say never, Eric Ross, but that would be ridiculous. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Do you get the same feeling with England and United, says Red Devil Dylan? No, Manchester United's way more important to me than England. But I've not been a fan of England for 10 years. I used to love England when I was, up until my early 20s. I was mad about England. Probably this was the last real World Cup, 2002, that I loved. I fell out of love with England, but I tell you what, I've really got into it over the last few weeks again, and they've sort of made me interested again. So, but no, United's different. I think England have been more entertaining over the last couple of games than United have been for the last couple of years. But United matter more. If United entertained me or entertained you, then we'd be happy people, wouldn't we? But just because they're not doesn't mean they're not as important. It's United forever for me. Everything else is second. We can't bench Lukaku for Ronaldo, says Josh Ike. We're not getting Ronaldo, so I wouldn't worry about it. 80 million and Martial for Mbappe. What you think, says Lee Van Creech. I can't see why Mbappe would come to United. This is the worry. I can't see why he would come. I think Bale was always the most gettable one for United. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Just a quick show at the end of a fantastic day if you're an England fan. England-Croatia, Wednesday night. Belgium-France, Tuesday night. Pogba versus Lukaku and Fellaini. Lingard in a semi-final as well, a World Cup semi-final. United players doing really well. I've got a theory on that. I think United players are doing well in the World Cup because we were the laziest team in the Premier League last year, so they're quite fresh, but it makes it even more interesting. Back at 8 o'clock tomorrow night. I think I'm going to do a transfer show in the morning, just a little bit of a review, so keep your eye out for that. But we're back. We're back on the United stand. We have been around the World Cup anyway, but next few weeks focused on United and get involved with the channel. You're fantastic. Thanks everyone for watching. I'm going to go and get a good night's sleep. I've had way too much beer today. But thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great evening. And I think it's going to be a very interesting few days and weeks ahead for Manchester United. Speak to you all soon.